Hey guys, Nabil here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk the King of Fighters 15. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Waqas Ali. You'll know him as White Ash, one of the best King of Fighters players in the whole world. White Ash, thank you so much for agreeing to this. I know it's pretty late where you are. So again, thank you so much for being a guest for this episode.
You're most welcome, Nabil, and it's really an honor for me to be here and share some thoughts. And it's been pending for a while because I remember last year when we met in France, and you asked for the same. But I'm really sorry I couldn't make it. But so this time when you asked, I said, okay, I will do it definitely. So
Thank you so much.
so I'll try to make it up for the missed opportunity in this video.
Uh,
All right.
all
So
right, sounds great.
really excited to be part of it.
Thank you so much. So, before we get into the King of Fighters 15 part, which should be the biggest part of this interview, let's talk a little bit about how you got into the SNK games in the King of Fighters. What was the first SNK games that really you remember playing that you liked and spent a lot of time on?
Right. Well, it's the history goes quite a few decades back, I think, because okay, first thing, maybe some people do not know exactly where I'm from. I'm basically from Pakistan, and I live and work in UAE, in Abu Dhabi, UAE. Okay, for last almost nine and a half years, I've been living here and working here. So my background is basically from Pakistan, and Pakistan, as you all know, is crazy about Taken. It's crazy about KOF. So these two games are kind of, running in the blood of the players there. Yeah, and in every major city in Pakistan, especially if I talk about those times, like before Taken got so much famous and with so much players, in every famous city. And I guess in every major colonies in those cities, you could find KOF communities there.
Hmm.
So KOF is, for example, I'm from Lahore, and there are many KOF communities in different colonies in Lahore. The same thing with capital Islamabad and another city, Karachi. So KOF was the main, fighting game, I think. In all over Pakistan, but of course, back in like mid 90s, I can still remember that we saw Art of Fighting. Art of Fighting was super famous there. Art of Fighting
Really?
one and two, yeah, it was super famous, and the 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 players who could do the supers of all the characters were like gods, right? And similarly with Art of Fighting one and two, I mean both of these games, these were quite famous, and the characters were like crazily loved there. Character was like Robert, Takuma, John, EG, Mr. Big. These were like crazy characters, and
Really?
the game creates lots of craze there. But and at that time, obviously, I was in early schooling, and I still remember my hands couldn't reach the arcades. So, but somehow I really was attracted to these SNK titles, especially Art of Fighting. But just to give a credit to other fighting games, Street Fighter was really popular.
Yeah, of course.
Street Fighter 3, that it's a
Yeah.
global title. It was super popular. For some time, Mortal Kombat 1 and all of other versions of Taken. So Taken 1, 2, 3, and so on, they were also popular. But somehow, in those days, I think KOF got into everyone's eye. And I tell you something funny. Um, I mean, it's kind of one of the memories, one of the sharpest memories that I have, that we all were quite crazy about how the supers look like in Art Fighting 2. Okay, we loved watching those, like
Yeah.
Takuma doing EX Shoryuken and Mr. Big doing that,
Yeah.
air super, and those were like crazy things to see on the screen, and and that we could do only one EX Shoryuken of Robert or
Yeah.
Ryo or Takuma. That's how the game was.
Yeah.
But what funny was, I still remember one of my friends at that time, came running to my house and told that, there's a game now, a new game now in that arcade shop where you have all all of Takuma, Robert, and Ryo in one team, and you can throw as many big fireballs as you can. That memory is still in my mind. So I remember I immediately went out of my home and I went on running and looking at what the hell is that game. So we saw and someone was definitely playing. It was King of Hearts 94. So that's really, I think, the earliest memory I have. But at that time I didn't know how to play. I just used to
Yeah.
I was just used to go there somehow,
So the
telling.
Auto Fighting team was your team, I guess.
No, I didn't play much that game because there were lots of bigger guys there who
Yeah.
hardly get a chance. But it's just that I loved watching that.
Yeah.
It was something really exceptional,
Yeah.
and I used to tell my parents that I'm going for cricket. Cricket is the famous
Yeah.
sport in Pakistan.
Uh-huh.
I used to go there and try to sit far beyond and from the screen and try to catch some scenes from the game. But it looked really cool. I mean, it's something really really nice. And then King of War got super famous there,
Yeah.
and uh, then of course 95 came in, and the people who knew how to take out Rugal and Saishu on the screen,
Yeah.
and they never shared their tricks. So you can imagine how competitive scene was there.
Yeah.
So 95 was super famous. Then 96, I don't know, maybe globally 96 is not that accepted or liked, but it was again super famous in Pakistan.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
really.
96, then 97, 98. Well, during the times in 98, I got something to do. I learned something like
Yeah.
how to fireball or DP on one side, but not the other side.
Oh, yeah.
How to do the supers, especially in the extra mode, because that was really something exciting to see
Yeah.
on this. So I got a little bit into it, but still, I remember there were crazy players in 98 at that time. And I mean, you just put your coin in and they will just wipe you. I mean, at that time I didn't know how to play,
Yeah.
so but I still somehow got into the community, and I kept on. So I think the first title that I tried properly was KOF 2001.
2001. Okay.
Yeah, and that how I did it. That was also something kind of dramatic because I got into those guys and those players there in the arcades, and we became obviously friends after so long time and playing this KOF series. So one guy, one thing I would love to mention here that in those times, internet got popular. It
Yeah.
started right.
Right.
So and people they got this feeling that in internet you can find any kind of information,
Hmm.
and that kind of stuff. So one of my friends, he asked me, August, can you try to go to internet, because I used to do chatting on MSN Messenger and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
MARC in those times. So one of my friends asked me was, can you go to internet and try to find out the move list, and the move list of which character, he asked. And he didn't know the name. I mean, he couldn't read the name probably. So he asked me, there's a new girl in King of Fighters 2001. I want to know the move list of that girl, and that girl changes the stance. So it was, of course, Bailey.
Yeah.
When I heard first time, okay, this is something new. It never happened in any of the previous fighting games. So I got really, really interested that what the hell this character is. So I went online. I think it was KOF online kind of website where I
Oh yeah,
found
yeah. There was a KOF online website. I remember back in the
exactly.
day. I used to go. Yeah, 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 yeah. That was a really
So
good website where you had all the information about the King of
true.
Fighters. You talk about the stories and comics, the Chinese comics at the time, and also the move list. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So that triggered a lot in me,
Mm,
that I must try this character. This is something totally different.
mm.
So I went through the moves, some basic combos, and so on, and then I started playing. So KOF 2001, I think the one that I probably played more seriously and try to be competitive in the scene back in Pakistan. So, but then once I got into I got more hands into the combos and the movement of
Yeah.
KO, the running and so on. So I played then previous parts too, like 98,
Hmm.
2000, not 99. I didn't like at that time, but that game was crazy there.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was very different going from 98 to
Yes,
99. It was completely different. And
exactly.
then, especially when you see that there's no Kyo in the beginning, no Kyo, no EO, and I was like, well, what are they doing? You know. Luckily, you could still unlock them, but it was a very different game. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was on PlayStation 2, right? If I'm not wrong. And
PlayStation
one
One,
or two. Yeah, it was on PlayStation.
PlayStation
And
One, I think at the time.
right. And I
PlayStation.
remember when I first time looked at the character screen, it
Yeah.
looked more like a cartoon type rather than
Uh,
a typical KOF, where three characters are standing
yes.
facing
Yeah. Yeah.
each
Yeah.
other. So it was a bit weird.
Yes.
So, so I didn't play 98 much, but as I said, at that time I was playing KF 2001, right? And I was trying to get more into this title. But how could I play like previous versions?
Mm.
Because, as I mentioned, man, the community was crazy there.
Yeah.
At one time, there were some arcade shops which, were giving opportunities to play either 98 or 2000
Yeah.
or 2001 or
Yeah.
97. They had like cabinets,
Yes.
like five or
Separate
six.
communities for each game.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy scene there. So that's how I got more into KOF scene in Pakistan, and then eventually KF 2002 came in, and naturally my first character to try there was Melee. So in 2002, I think I did pretty good job there, and I think in my first tournament there in Lahore, I was third, just losing to
So
two of
you
the
you had
best.
you had big tournaments at the time in there.
Yeah, but those tournaments were like once a year. It wasn't that frequent. That
All
was
right.
the
Okay.
of early 2000s. So I did take part in one of the QF 2002 tournaments, and I think in the first one I got third position, and only losing to the best players there. So that's how I got some recognition. Okay, this
Hmm.
guy is doing something. But then there was kind of this rivalry in players in Lahore that like my Ayuri is best, my Kyo is best, my
Yeah.
Billy is best, this kind of thing. So, but looking at, I still remember the first tournament when I looked at the teams of the players. Everyone had Ayuri and Billy in 2002. These two characters was crazy there. At that time, Kim wasn't discovered properly. So everyone had Kyo, Ayori and Billy, and one of their favorite characters. So, for example, one guy liked K Tetra 9, so Ayori Billy and K Tetra 9, and somebody like Kyo, so Ayori Billy Kyo, Ayori Billy Mai, just like that. So, but I was the only one. I was playing Angel, and I
Yeah.
was playing, of course, Melee, and I think my third was Athena.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I was kind of exceptional case. Yeah. So that's how I got slightly more into kind of recognition that okay, there is a player who plays with these kind of characters. Yeah.
That's good. But you didn't get into the esports thing until King of Fighters 13. No?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
So after 2002, um, I was studying engineering back in the. I was a good kid, and my parents were really proud of me because at some point I did sell my calligraphic art to support my studies because
Oh,
honestly we were not financially very good. We were really bad. So I used to sell to school children because they used to get the assignments to write something from the poetry or from Quran, like
yeah.
any verse and with the translation. So I sold my calligraphic art to support
Oh,
my studies and get finally into engineering, right? But in parallel, this craze of Kira was like ongoing. I mean, it was like burning to fight,
yeah.
even in that time.
Yeah.
So I tell you something, Nabil. I remember it was my entry examination in engineering university in Lahore, and on the day before the examination, at like 9 a.m. in the morning, me and two of my friends, we were just getting crazy in KF 2002. We played it like 5 hours. I mean, this was so strong that we couldn't just let it go. I mean,
Yeah.
even for a day. So we played a lot, even in those crucial times when your future is at stake. So eventually, I got into engineering, and of course, I had to do some other work too in parallel to support my studies and so on. But still, in weekends and whenever I got chance, we kept on playing 2002. And then 2003 came in, and I think that was the last one I played in Pakistan. And many people, they do not
Yeah.
still they do
It
not like
wasn't a
2003.
popular game. No.
Yeah, but still, whoever played, I mean, they were like, there is a queue of craziest
Really?
duelons. Yeah, man, a queue, a proper queue of crazy duelons. Ash, maybe Violence or Nido Ash. He's a very
No.
good friend of mine.
Okay.
Um, uh, he used to play King, and he was the craziest player there. And I mean, people, they just got into 2003 even at that time, because K was the spirit there.
Yeah.
So that was the last title that I played. But if somehow, because nobody could fully got into 2003, the players, they came back to earlier titles like 98 and 2002. So 98 and 2002 and 2000, I think these three titles are still played there.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. These are the 2000. I haven't seen it in a very like long time in terms of tournaments online. But 98 and 2002, they're still very big. Even in Latin America, they're still very big games.
Yes.
Even after 2002 it's still 2000 vanilla 2002 is still pretty popular.
Yes, it is. It is, and it's the same case in Lahore and in Karachi, the two famous cities in Pakistan. And still,
Do they still have arcade places in Pakistan right now?
yes,
Really?
they do have.
Okay.
Yeah, still there are. Yeah,
Yeah.
but now the arcade cabinets are more like. I mean, there are no arcade cabinets, but the structures are there of the arcade.
Yeah,
But
but it's more like
inside
emulation.
it's but inside it's a PlayStation 4.
PlayStation. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's how it is now.
Okay, so it's not like you go and throw
The
your coin and stuff like
no,
that.
it's not that. Yeah.
Okay.
So all of those games are either on PC or, of course, PlayStation or Xbox. But that typical arcade with the coins thing is not there anymore.
Okay. All right.
But the thing is, because of this environment, the culture is there.
Exactly. So the culture.
That competitive culture of arcade is there.
Like here in Morocco, it's been dead for a very long time. There's no arcade places. Well, you can't find any. Since consoles became everywhere, they just shut down, unfortunately. And it's really sad because yes, we have online. Yes, we try to stay together as a community. But those days of the arcade were very special. Very, very special.
Yes, that's true. And in arcades, you could find any kind of people there. So because I was very much into my studies too, and it requires like 80% or 85% marks to get into engineering. So I was at that level, and I was doing calligraphy in parallel, and of course playing games. So my parents were really concerned about playing games, but still I kept my studies and percentage highest somehow. So once I got into my engineering, then I was kind of free. I could go to games anytime I wanted. So that's how it was. But then there was some gap because I was completing my engineering. I had to set up my career. I'm a chemical engineer, by the way. So that was a gap. I think around 4 to 5 years when I played only like on weekends with my best friend. His name is Saad, by the way. So we used to go to arcades at different areas in Lahore and play with the players there casually.
But I mean, the gaming was still there. Even there's just weekends, it didn't really stop. You kept
exactly. It never stopped. It never stopped actually. So that was kind of gap because other players, they got more into
Yeah.
KOF 98 and 2002, they were strong. Um, till it was 2012 when I got this job in UAE and I moved here. So that was the first international flight that I was having at that time,
Oh,
and I remember still now that while sitting in the plane, I was thinking, of course, what's going on, what will be a new career in a new place, in a new country. But in Pala, I was thinking, what the hell is going to be with KOF now? Will it be like just watching online videos and combo videos and maybe try something on that emulator, Neo Geo?
yeah.
Yeah, or something. But luckily, when I came here, in my first weekend, it was like my second or third day in UAE, and I somehow knew that my friend Naveed or Nido Ash, he's already in UAE.
Okay.
So I found, I tried and I found him on Facebook, and I sent him a message. Look, I'm here. What do I need to do? And because he lives in Dubai
Okay.
and I live in Abu Dhabi, and these two cities are like 1.5 hour drive away.
All right.
So he told me, just think nothing, and on the weekend, just take this bus or taxi, whatever, and come to Dubai. So that also is something like special because my first visit to Dubai was into an arcade in Dubai, playing with more new players in Dubai, KF 98. Usually people come to Dubai and they want to go to like Dubai Mall, Palm or Burj
Yeah.
Khalifa. And I still remember my friend Naveed, Nido Ash, and Tayyib. These two are like they are great players in QF, and of course recognized. So Naveed told me, just come to this mall at this gate. We're gonna pick you. And they picked me, and they're straight away into arcade. Let's play QF. So that's how I met Zentatsu.
Okay.
Yeah, so first time I went him there, and other, of course, players, and they were playing 98 and 2002 I think, at that time. So then every weekend, as usual, as expected, I went to, I kept on going to Nido Ash and Tayyab, and I met more and more Pakistani players like Dark Fellow. He's also one of the best players in KF13 in UAE, and Asan, and many other guys I met there, and that's how the passion continued eventually. So we were kind of playing a lot of 98 when we first time saw KF13. At one time, it really looked different because you can see the difference between the graphics
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the system, the combos, and the HD mode. Although I loved HD mode from 2002, but it looked like, man, it really goes slowly, and the combos are really long. I mean, what do you get a chance to do
Mm.
some damage and so on? So at first, it didn't attract me, to be honest. But in January 2015, I was in South Korea for one assignment from my company, and I was just sitting there and I was talking to my friends, and I came to know that there's going to be a tournament in Oman for KF13.
All
So,
right.
yeah, so all my friends like Zentatsu himself, Nido Ash, Darkfellow, Tayyab, all of these, they traveled to Oman from Dubai. It's quite near, and they played there. And there, while watching the videos, I first time saw Ahmed, as known as Fro, the commentator. You
Yes.
know
Yes.
him,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
first time I heard him, and I was totally shocked. I mean, I didn't ask who is the champion. Buster Wolf was the champion, and Tayyib was the runner-up. So I didn't ask who is the champion. I mean, who are these guys, and so on. My first question to my friends after watching the whole video: who the hell was this tournament commentator, man? So that's how we got into KF13. I mean, it was definitely late because I think the first Evo, Mad KF1 was in 2012, right?
Uh-huh.
So after, unfortunately, I should say, after like 3 years of release of this amazing game, we
Yeah.
finally got our hands into it. So then once I came back, coordinated with the players here in Abu Dhabi, and I started learning KOF13 more and more. And man, I just fell in love. I never looked back at 98 after that. That
It's
was
a
so
13 is really the pinnacle of King of Fighters. You know,
yeah,
it's just
that was so addictive. I mean, and I didn't have PS3 at that time, so I used to go almost every day to a nearby arcade here in Abu Dhabi, and I started practicing and how the system is. Zentetsu helped me a lot in understanding that it's not only about HD combos, but you can still use the half HD to do more damage.
yeah,
And this
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of. So I slowly got into it, and uh, the main character I picked up in KF13 was Ash, and that also is kind of story because Ahmed Fro, I think he's the guy who triggered this thing in me, and he visited Dubai. I think it was March or April at that time. He visited Dubai and he wanted to see how is the level, and he wanted to play with the players in Dubai. So I was just still learning. I was just learning like A, B, and C of KF13. So I was just trying Ash. So he told me, I still remember his words that this character is such a difficult character to master,
Yeah,
and that was clear. I mean, nobody was playing Ash. Zendatsu was playing Psyche, which is I think relatively easier to play.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so nobody was playing Ash at that time. So I thought, okay, maybe this could be something. If I master, it could be my recognition. So I chose Ash, and I came back to
So
Abu
it's like you
Dhabi.
always look for that character who's unique, maybe not, maybe difficult, and it's like you make it like your challenge too.
Yeah, I really took it as a challenge. I really, really took it as a challenge. And you know what? I came back to Abu Dhabi and I got PS3 from a friend of mine. Okay. I just wanted to try this character really hard. So I looked at the trials and I really talked to myself, what the hell I'm going to do? God, those trials are, you know that, right? Ash
Yeah, yeah.
trials
The
are
Trials
just
of
crazy.
13. I'm actually going through them. Like I was like today, this morning, I was going through some of them, and it's just
Really?
man, yeah. It's compared to 14. It's on a completely different level.
My goodness. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing. So I tried Ash, and I, really, really tried. I was really frustrated at times because how to do those, HG combos with, the combo Ash combos from corner to corner. It has like a
Mhm.
DP and fireball, another DP, another fireball.
Yeah,
I
and those are
really thought
all charged moves, right?
exactly all
Yeah,
charts. So I really had to, think about some kind of a shortcut
yeah.
to do those combos. So I did it, and eventually I got my hands on. And slowly, I really was beaten very hard by players here, like Arcelanic, Zentetsu, Webster. I really got beaten very hard just for playing this character because to control it, to execute the combos, which is extremely critical in KF13. You know that. uh, it was really, really hard time. And I initially played Ash, Kyo, Yuri, Mature, these characters. But eventually I found my kind of addiction in Ash and Dulon. So I just gave a try to
Oh,
Dulon.
yeah.
Man, Dulon was just amazing. That character is, I could never get bored of this character.
That's one character I haven't really put my teeth into. Like I haven't played maybe more than 15 minutes or so. So it's one of those characters that I really want to try because I see a lot of people saying a lot of good things about him. So I
Yes.
definitely need to give him a chance. And so you think going through those trials is a good idea to get an idea about the character?
Going through it, yeah, that's true because it's not only about the combos in trials because some trials did show you some different kind
Correct.
of
Yeah.
uh, links in the combos.
Yes. That
Right.
you won't be able to find by yourself.
Exactly, that's
Mhm.
one thing. And if you look at those amazing videos from Persona World,
Yeah.
his combo videos on
Yeah. Yeah.
KF13.
Crazy. Yeah.
Of course, though many of them are not practical, but
Mhm.
you see some amazing things. For example, after Sun, you could do two jumps.
Yeah.
After throwing Dulon's fireball,
Yeah.
you could do one jump, another jump, and so on. I mean, these kind of links you can easily find in those combo videos.
Mhm.
So that's why I played trial. I of course looked at the videos, and I came to know there are many more players throughout the world of KF13, and came to know about Evo and so on. I mean, I knew about Evo, but the videos and the history of KF13, like in 2012, 13, 14, and so on. So that's how I tried quickly to get into the game. And the last tournament was KF GCC 2015 in December, when Radwan was here, Freezer.
Yeah.
He was here, and Salim from France, he was here in Dubai. Matt Kev was here, Xiaohai was here, and many players came from Pakistan. So I think that was one of the best events we had here. Well, I mean, in terms of the quality of players we got, probably from many countries. Probably
that's when you got into like the esports on a I would say professional level.
Yes. I mean, we came to know more about how Matkef is doing, how Xiaohai is traveling, and so on. So that kind of, put an urge to be more into esports.
Yeah.
But eventually, as you know, next year KOFXV came in. So the thing that we were missing, and I personally was missing in KF13, was that I didn't start this game from the day one.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we played it like last year of KF13. So when KF14 came in, I mean, I decided that no matter what, no matter how the game is, we're gonna start right on the day one, and we're gonna prove that we also have strength here in this region. It's not only about South America or China or Japan and so on. I mean, this Middle East region, of course, Freezer has proven it even before us.
Yeah.
I mean, this region also has that strength. So we started. I remember I started first time with Zentetsu, and we live in the same city. So I got the game, and we decided, okay, let's go to the arcade and try it together. So the first character I tried was Nakaruru.
Oh yeah. I saw those videos.
So because I was really excited to see this character. I used to see back in Pakistan because Samurai Shodown was also played there in those times, and I really loved this character. I mean, players that played Galford, Hanzo.
She was quite overpowered in the beginning of KO14.
Oh yes. I really enjoyed that.
I bet.
So that's how started, and I practiced with Athena like till midnights and seeing what her best combos could be, how I could get into into resets or make setups for Nakaruru, for example. Nakaruru's that flip, it's plus on block. So that's something I took really good advantage, and I could mix it up. Like, after that move, you could either frame trap, or you could do another CD and go up and come back and do another. It can continue till the guard crash. So I started thinking in those lines. And initially, no one was playing Yuri because Yuri was super strong in KF13.
Yeah.
But she lost that dive kick. And
that was a big change. Yeah.
Yeah, and the frames after the successful hit of that dive kick, it was difficult to do combo, but I still gave her a try, and I remember when I was trying her in practice, and I found that the jumps are kind of floaty in KF14, and if I just hit one air attack, air to air, I can just easily do the command grab of Yuri and get him back. So this, I think I found that this is kind of strong in this character now. It's not only about the dive kick, because there are no more those kind of SG combos.
Yes.
But this thing, she can be very strong in air, and her air fireball was mad at that time. The hitbox was that big. So that motivated me to play Yuri, and she has very good combos in corner. Her one frame grab and a safe jump after that. These were her kind of strength that I think I abused those. So Yuri became my main in KF14 initially. Nakaruru was there, and Athena, of course. So, and then we played this tournament in Bahrain for KF14, and I really put so much hard work in those 3 to 4 months after release and till the tournament. I tried different characters, situations, So I was really confident for Bahrain's event till I came to know, okay, Lassid is coming and my brother Freezer, he's also coming. So I was like, okay, this is not going to be easy at all. So somehow, I was a bit lucky, I think, and I got into the first place in KOF14 in Bahrain, and
good.
I think that was the point that I probably got more recognition from other parts of the world. And then well, Evo 2017 happened. I got into top 8. That was something different. First time Evo, and getting to that stage is a dream.
Yeah.
It's really something. I mean,
That really, again, it made the whole world know who you are, your level, that you're
yeah,
into this game. This is
yes.
very
That
important step.
that
Yeah.
was definitely so far. I think of course it's the best achievement I could have. I mean, that medal of Evo is
Yeah.
and something else. It's really special. It has separate
Yeah.
place. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it is. That's how I my kind of journey with KOF.
So, and how's this whole situation now with the lockdowns and the COVID-19? How's it affecting you as an esports player, as a professional player? And how are you
Yeah,
coping with it? Because it's very, very difficult. How all these changes happen so suddenly, and we're still going through this. So
yeah.
how are you coping with that?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and I really, Nabil, with this video, I just really want to promote a little bit that everyone please use hand sanitizer, okay, and use the face mask a lot whenever you go out or in gathering and maintain social
Yeah,
distance. So that's first thing. Okay, so being in esports and having this pandemic, it definitely has affected because there are no more that kind of tournaments anymore,
yeah,
right? And there is no offline, almost zero. And what we can do is now just online, or we could have online tournaments, which are definitely not like offline scene.
yeah,
Offline, online it's totally different game.
yeah.
Regardless of what game you're playing, it's KOF, it's Street Fighter, it's
And
Mortal Kombat.
even if the network is good, if the net code, I mean, is good, it's there's still that missing, that when you're in an arena with all those people, and if you're talking about tournaments, or if just being with so many people playing at the same time, the interactions, the like everything that you could get from that event, from those events, and being with other people is not there with online, regardless of how bad the net code or good it is.
True, true. That vibe of offline environment, I mean, it's really something else.
Yeah.
I remember I was playing on stage in Stunfest,
Mhm.
in Street Fighter, and in KOF with ET. And after every combo and so on, you hear people are like clapping for
Sure.
you,
Yeah.
and that really gives kind of boost.
Yeah.
And that competitive environment, I think, is really something that we are missing a lot.
Mm.
Because even if you play tournament online, it's never like that. It's never
No,
ever, it can never be like that. So because of this pandemic and all this lockdown, definitely we are not going to have those tournaments. We had only, I think, 2 or 3 online tournaments of Street Fighter here in this region, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so the way I see it, it's all about mental strength, right? It's not only about just going through the training and training and training and so on. For our perfect mental strength, we really need a lot of other things too, which are somehow supporting our decision making in fighting games. For example, we need to spend time with family.
Yeah.
That's critically important for our mental strength. So I took advantage of working at home. I'm with my family. I called my parents here, and they stayed here for like 4 months with
That's
me,
good.
and that was very good time. I never had this time in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So I did it. Um, so I really focused on improving the mental strength, and how I did it. I look back into the kind of projects or prospects that I really hope that someday if I have time I will do this. Someday if I have time I'll go through this and so on. So for example, I tried different games. I played a little bit of Taken 7. I tried Mortal Kombat as well. I played very good Scarlet. I can say that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you like,
So
so what do you think about the game? Quickly, Mortal Kombat 11.
I really like the game.
It's a good. I love it too. I don't have
The
time
game
to
is
play
very
it,
good.
unfortunately, but I do. I'm a pretty okay Sub Zero. but
All right.
I love. I've been a Mortal Kombat fan since the very first game, so I always played all of them. But this last one is very good. Unfortunately, it's difficult to find time to
Hmm.
play all these great games that we have now.
Yes, true. And Mortal Kombat 11, I think it's a great game, and I really enjoyed playing Scarlet. I started with Kitana, but played a little bit of Scorpion. But I
Mhm.
think Scarlet was my kind of character. So, I played her. I really enjoyed. So, and that's the thing. I got into a different mindset
Yeah,
where sticking your stick on the back does not mean to block.
to block. Yes,
You
correct.
have to block with the button, and there are different kind of wake up options and so on. So this kind of broadens
Yeah,
the mental vision that you have. So that's one thing I did. I tried different games, and in other existing games, for example, of course, King of Fighters 14 and Street Fighter, I tried different characters. I
that's,
stopped playing like Athena or Mian or Nakruru. We had kind of a challenge here in this region that okay, you guys play different characters, different teams, not the one that you've
mm.
been playing for years. So, for example, I played Maxima, I played Diamond, I played K Dash, I played Rock, Yamazaki, so Xanadu even. So,
Oh,
I know you hate that character.
yeah. Not a fan of his design. Oh, his moves actually. Now, his design is okay, but his moves, like how he turns his hand, it just I don't know. It's something about that move that makes me so mad. I don't know why.
So that's what I did, and we really played it like competitive casuals, like FT10 and
Yeah.
so on. And I think I really enjoyed playing Diamond. Diamond is I think very strong in KO14. So that's what I did. And even in Street Fighter also, I changed the characters. I learned like Zeku, Chun-Li. I was playing Colin before. I learned Akuma. So that's one thing I did in gaming side of it. In fighting games,
Yeah. That's a
just to
smart way
take
because I mean
advantage.
you don't have that pressure that you have to because there's no tournament coming up anytime soon, so you have the time to do something different. The games and also enjoy yourself because sometimes if you keep focusing on the same character just on a competitive level, you might forget to just have fun and try some other characters and try some other games.
Right. So
All right.
that's what I did for fighting games that I was involved in, and in parallel, I kept on playing some other kind of strategic games online, like Tetris
Oh,
and Puzzle Bubble.
what is it called? The new one, right? That is online.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I played that one, and sometime I played Puzzle Bubble too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that also
that
is
game is
one
awesome.
crazy game. Yeah,
That's
that's
a
also
great game. That is a great game.
really nice.
Really
And
underrated. You don't hear much about it. It's a great game that's just almost forgotten about.
exactly. And you start playing versus mode, and you don't know how when 3 hours gone. It's that addictive. So that I played that one as well, and a couple of other games too, like those arcade games, Chilnov, maybe or
No,
maybe
no.
Ragger.
No.
Okay, so those are two games that I saw a lot in arcades in Pakistan, so I gave it a try.
Oh, cool.
So, but mainly Tetris. Tetris is, I think, very good.
Very addictive.
Yeah. So that was about the games. But another thing I did in these times, and I'm still doing it, I'm going through many books.
Oh,
So
that's
in
cool.
my free times, like before sleeping, spend like half an hour going through a book. So I have a huge collection here. Maybe you can see.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I have all those books here with different subjects like Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, leadership, conflict resolution, um, creativity, these kind of things. So
That's pretty good.
that's I'm doing, yeah, because somehow it links to my job too because I'm working as well. Yeah. So that's how I'm kind of training my brain, making it having more and more strength. And inshallah, when we have the tournaments, I'll be more confident. I mean, even if it is ET in front of me. So we'll see. We'll see in KF15.
Let's see. And speaking of KOF15, so how excited are you about this upcoming game?
Oh God, I was talking a lot to my friends here. Man, like whenever we meet or talk, man, when the hell are we going to see anything for KOF15?
Yeah.
And
And
sometime,
yeah.
sorry, Nabil, sometime I really did watch that reveal of from EVO 2019, that clip on
Yeah.
YouTube, many times on my main screen with full voice, with full volume.
Just to
I
hear
don't
all the
care if
reactions.
exactly. That really
Yes, it
creates
was it
hype.
was very, I mean, it was very exciting and frustrating because we had to wait a lot. And every time there's a major event, whether it's Sony or Microsoft or anything, we're like, maybe it's now, we're gonna see something. And then at the
Exactly.
end, like literally, like for me, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna stop thinking about this. You know, KOF 02 was released. I was like, I'm gonna focus on that and just forget about 15 until it happened. And then we finally had something. I mean, it's not gameplay yet, but that was enough
Still.
to get a lot of us very, very excited.
True. That was, and I remember I was playing, I think Street Fighter here, and when I, my mobile phone started, giving notifications, like WhatsApp messages or Twitter and so on, and I saw, okay, something is coming up for KF15. As expected, I thought this is something fake because we've been hearing so many fake stories. So I saw somebody shared in our GCC group about KF15, and I thought, okay, this is gonna be another tweet with some kind of funny things about KF15. Let's leave it and focus on playing. Then I saw another tweet. Then I saw another tweet and another picture and so on. I really, when I saw the link from SNK in our
Yeah.
WhatsApp group, then I thought, oh, no, this is something else. I really need to open it. So I just left the game. I just opened it and see what's going on. So that's how, I mean, that was my experience of watching that video and those graphics of characters.
You know, about that, you remind me of something. I haven't, this is the first time I'm seeing this, but when the trailer dropped, I was on a work call.
Right.
And then I was getting like all these notifications. Then I got a WhatsApp message from Prionel and it said,
Mm-hmm.
"Did you see it? Did you see the KOF 15 teaser?" And I'm like, I didn't know what to do, and then I hung up the guy without even noticing. I hung up the call, and I'm like, "What?" That's how excited I. That's how much like we've been waiting for this thing. So
Oh,
really
man.
happy. I mean, it wasn't much, as I said. We just saw like sketches, but that was enough to get us all hyped up.
Exactly. I mean,
And then
those are, I think, enough to make us all hype about the game.
then there's the news that dropped last week of Oda Yasuyuki Oda saying that KO15 is going to be supreme masterpiece, and
Oh, man.
that was like, and the reason I think, at least for myself, because all these years seeing Oda communicating with the fans and doing interviews, he was never this hype about something. And Samurai Showdown was coming out, and he was saying it's a great game. If you love the Samurai Showdown 2 and 5, this is good. But he never was like this confident about and because like other like if you look at other game developers, they always hype up their games. It's not
True.
something new, right? But he never did that, and the fact that he's doing it now, it kind of makes it sound like we're really in for something very special.
True. And yeah, I mean, looking at his body language in that trailer, I mean,
Yeah,
it really gives. Maybe inside he's thinking, now I'm gonna tell community what exactly is KOF.
yeah,
Maybe this kind of feeling he has. That's why he's so confident in speaking, and probably he knows how's the effect going to be on 7th of January.
yeah.
So yeah, that information, that piece of information was really something special. That kind
Yeah.
of made us wake up from sleeping for 1.5 years.
I know, but it also made us feel time going very slow since
Oh
that teaser.
gosh.
It's like, oh, it's been only 1 week. What the hell? I thought it was more than that.
Whenever I see calendar, I just see, man, well, how many days are left now?
Yeah. So what are your hopes for that January 7th reveal? Like, what are you expecting, or what do you want to see in that reveal?
Right. Okay. So I see the my hopes in kind of two directions. One obviously is negative, one is positive, and I think this time it's more positive because if one thing, if you look at the trend of KOF games, somehow one game is very much hate, the other
Yeah,
one is a bit
correct.
low, and so on. So if you look at KF13, that was mega hit, of
Yeah,
obviously one of the best fighting games, I think.
yeah,
And when KF14 came in, the hype a bit job done. Although
Right.
that also is one great game.
It is a great game.
If we really played the way it should be, and now KOF 15, and even the initial logo back in 2019 Evo, I think even that logo I loved it.
Yeah.
It really gave me like a solid look into KOF. So that was also something good. But then this logo came in, and I'm really crazy about that one too. And with the character sketches, and about Nabil, I once had a dream of looking at the gameplay of KOF 15, and
We
it's
all did.
natural. I'm sure.
We all did.
And when you wake up, you remember just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So I can still remember what I saw. I saw that 99 stage, or that was on. The background was like a street with a couple of lights at the
Yes.
top.
Yep.
That stage. I saw that stage with very high quality graphics. And I saw Ayuri and Kyo fighting with each other, and there is some kind of activation which like blows the screen, and this kind of forward future vision I had in my dream, and I can always remember that, because that's how much we waited for this game.
I know.
So then Nabil, the interesting part is when I saw those neon sketches.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can see in my
Yeah.
screen. That really matched what I saw in the dream. So when I'm watching Kyo and especially Keres and Shunoi in the Leona especially in these neon sketches, man, that really gave me super high expectations from that game, and I really believe that. So that's one thing. I mean, on the positive side, that KO15 is going to be a great game, right? If you look at the trend.
The trend, yeah.
Second, when SNK released KF 2002 with rollback, I really had this internal analytical feeling that why a company should do that, and why they should bring back an old game and try a rollback on that one. So I really had this feeling that I'm sure this must be the testing ground for KF15. This should be. Why they should do that? Why they should spend money on this game? So that also was my really, it gave me really high hope that KF15 is going to be having a very good netcode. I really hope that's true. So that was one reason.
They know that we want. I mean, you saw also that in that interview. I mean, Oda said that we know people want rollback. I mean, he said it
exactly.
Now, I mean, again, when you hear that, it's why would he say that if it's not in there, or if it at least it's something similar? Because right now, rollback is, when you hear rollback, that means great netcode, right? So maybe there's some. Honestly, I just want it to be a good netcode, whatever they end up using, rollback, delay, something else, something hybrid. I don't know how it's done, but I just want a good netcode, because so far we haven't had a good smooth launch of a King of Fighters with netcode. Not the game itself, but there's always something. It gets patched, it gets better, but it's very very difficult. And I think a lot of time you lose a lot of potential players, in those first few weeks or few months of the release.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping this time it's going to launch with a good netcode, especially in these times now. It's proved how important netcode is.
Exactly. I mean, that's the need of the hour now. I mean, there's no other choice at the moment. So because of all these factors, the hopes are really high for the netcode. And as I said, I mean, it was my analytical feeling. They are testing it. They are definitely testing the rollback with KF 2002 So which could probably mean that maybe the graphics may look like quite advanced version of those times, like 98 or 2002. You never know. Or KF13. So that also is a very good hope for the graphics.
Yeah, because I mean, when 14 was revealed, people were not happy. I mean, the graphics were not great. Especially in that first trailer was horrible. Actually, I just watched it again last week, and it's really bad. It's not just memories. It looked really bad. I mean, the game is great. I love King of Fighters 14. But they know that the first look is very important. And I think that's why that we haven't seen anything until now, because they could have, if Evo happened, they would have showed something. But I think they used that time now from Evo to now to just polish it more, so that first look is going to be definitely better than if we've had it back in August or July. So I'm hoping for some good graphics now in terms of a lot of people, I mean, even myself included, would love it to see like a graphics kind of like Guilty Gear Stride
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
or Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but I don't think it's going to be like that because these kind of graphic technology is very time consuming, and King of Fighters is a game with a big roster, so I don't know if that's something that will be feasible.
Yeah.
But as long as it's a good graphics, I guess we're
Yeah,
good.
that's very logical. So maybe we could see like advanced version of Samurai Showdown graphics. That would be incredible.
Yeah,
I love Samurai Showdown here.
Do you still play the game?
Yeah, sometimes I do. So, yeah.
You still
I
mainly
remember
Charlotte?
Charlotte or Nakoruru. Yeah, they're these two. Or Rimururu. I think she's fun.
Oh, she's very tricky.
Yes, she
Very.
is.
Yeah, I love her
Yeah,
playset. Very tricky.
true.
It's a great game too.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Samurai Shodown is a great game. And the mechanics are really good,
Yeah.
and the hype is crazy in that game.
Oh yes. Yeah,
It's really crazy.
Things could change at the last few seconds, and I love that.
True.
It's a good game. And
Yeah,
speaking of mechanics, now, what are your hopes for King of Fighters 15 in terms of mechanics? If you have to, what would be your perfect King of Fighters 15? Which mechanics would you bring from from the different King of Fighters games that we've had so far?
All right. That's really tricky to kind of cherry pick those features from other KOF games. So one thing that I would definitely want is neutral EX moves. Okay, I really wish if KOF 15 had those. I mean,
So when you say neutral EX move, do you mean outside of max mode?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's logical that even if you imagine in KOF 15, KOF 14, if we had those, EX moves, and it's a balance that either you use couple of EX moves when you activate the max mode, or you use one at any time you want, right? So I really hope that the EX moves are back. That's one thing I would love.
It was a strange decision to change them in 14, especially coming from 13. They were a big deal. It was a very strange decision to go with that. A lot of people didn't like that, and because also, like for new players who are not into KOF, max mode is usually the last thing they're gonna try, right?
Yeah.
So you're already removing the EX moves for these players, and they won't be able to use them. So it makes it kind of, and it was kind of a strange decision, honestly.
True. And another feature that was in KOF 2002, you could use your the roll, but the escape buttons after a blocked normal, and you could just avoid the guard CD. I think that move was great. Maybe they could introduce something like that in KOF 15, because if you look at KOF 14, we didn't have any kind of thing like that, right? If somebody is pressuring you with EX moves, or in corner, there's no way that you could somehow trick somebody using the guard inversion, right? The guard CD. So that's something I think they should do, because eventually the corner pressure is quickly gone. And in KOF 14, that screen distance, I think, is longer than the previous ones.
Correct. Yeah.
So it becomes difficult to catch, to enter into the zone, to pressure again, which I think makes KOF 14 as well quite challenging. But in my opinion, I think there has to be something like that from 2002 in KOF 15 to make it more and more interesting and mind game. So this is something I'm really looking at. Another thing from KOF 14 that I'll probably not want is CDs hitting to the wall.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, this is something. It's a bit weird in KOF. I think we never had this in any of the previous KOFs. So in certain moves, I think they could introduce that. For example, Mian has this move.
Yeah.
But, with the wall bounce and so on, that should be fine.
But it shouldn't be like a universal thing for all characters.
Yeah, that shouldn't be. That is something I still don't like.
Yeah.
In KOF 14. Yeah. For example, if you land a perfect stand CD and the character goes away, it's good in a way, but there is no proper opportunity for extending into like a combo. It's not there. and of course the rolls are crazy. So even if you get a perfect stand city, and you try to pressure somebody, there is a chance that still somebody will escape from it. So that's kind of, it's a bit frustrating. So I don't want that. But the critical thing in KOF 15 will be definitely how the bar is. Is it a max mode, or it's a hyperdrive, or maybe they introduce extra again, or advanced mode. I think that's
Which
really
one is
really.
which one do you prefer? If you
Uh,
had to choose, they ask you, you're the
which
one
one
who's
I
gonna
would
choose
prefer?
for King of Fighters 15. Yeah,
I think KOF 13
King of
definitely.
15 style.
Yeah, yeah. And I think
I think
if
most people will. I think from thinking of people that I know, I think most people would want to go with 13. 13 again was, it seemed like everything was perfect in that game. It's
yep,
just, yeah. So I think they know that. I mean, I think they know that. So let's see what happens.
yeah. I mean,
Any other? Go ahead.
so yeah, that's a definite thing. SNK knows very well. I mean, how popular 13 was,
Yeah.
how successful was, and how much freedom we had for for the combos in KF 13. But honestly, I don't want that much freedom in KF 15.
Yeah,
I mean,
because again, you're gonna have a problem with newcomers. You gotta also think of the newcomers who are gonna come in to the game. Like in 13, I see people who try and then they end up being, flying around these combos from here to here, and they just quit afterwards.
exactly, and that will be again probably a demotivating factor if you
Mm,
introduce that long combos for obviously the new players.
yeah,
The veterans, I think they will easily get into it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? But
And that's
definitely,
always difficult to. It's always a fun, but especially with King of Fighters games because they can get a bit too technical. So it's difficult to find a balance that you're gonna please both people who never tried King of Fighters and the King of Fighters veterans. So it's
yeah.
it's a tough thing to achieve.
True. And so hyperdrive we have seen in KF 13 and how crazy it was. Max mode we have seen in KF 2002. Advanced we have already seen, and extra we have already seen. And there was something that I was saying that could be introduced in KF 15 was that you could use a meter to cancel into specials and so on. But I think that also was in KF Neo Wave. That was one version in KF which had this kind
Uh,
of feature. Yeah.
that's one game that I didn't play more than a couple hours, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, Neo Wave. No, I was not fun. I didn't like the art. I didn't like the weird colors of the bars, the energy bars. So that game I didn't. And it came at a time where I was in the U.S. at the time. I was studying. I was having two jobs. It was really really hectic to find time to invest in King of Fighters. Those years I really didn't play as much as I wanted. So Neo Wave came that around that time.
Right. And another thing is that, I mean, we never know because they clearly mentioned that the teams are going to be mixed up, right? And I mean,
I don't know if that's what he meant by that, honestly. I think I'll be surprised if they change things a lot. I mean, because there's a bit of conflict, because, like you have that King of Fighters 94 music, when they showed the game, right?
yep,
So that kind of tells
yes,
me I kind of like going back to basics. That's what I the idea I got. But then he said the teams are gonna be different. I don't know if they're gonna switch them around a lot. Like I don't. I'll be surprised if, for example, Team Japan is not Kyo, yeah,
hmm
Benimaru and Goro, or if like Atena is not with Kensu and Chin. So I don't know how much they're gonna change that, honestly.
yeah. Even if they are changing it, there must be some solid outcome out of this change because even if they put, let's say, Kyo with Terry in some other team, and we have this flexibility to select any three characters out of the roster.
You know,
So how this
gonna affect.
mixing up of the teams, it's going to affect the gameplay. It's the same thing,
It won't. It won't. Not the gameplay. It's more of people who follow like the story and things like that. I think that's the
right?
thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because otherwise,
That.
it won't really change anything. Honestly, you're right. Because you
Yeah.
still mix and match anyway. You don't. I mean, only few people. If you're talking about like in esports or in tournaments, they go with like a full team as it is
hmm
on the select screen. So it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter that much.
Yep, that's true.
Any particular characters that were not in 14 that you want back in 15?
Not in 14. Okay, my top one will be Ash.
Obviously.
Obviously. So let's take as
The good
Ash as
chances he's
exception.
in. I mean, I think it's going to be like it's 90% chance he's in because of the
Okay, that would be
ending
great.
of the ending of Team Japan or team. I think so. I can't remember which team ending showed that Ash was now alive is back. There's a reason they showed him, so it's probably going to be in it. Any other
Right,
characters?
right. K Tetra 9. I
Oh,
think
okay.
that character is excellent. I personally love this character. I mean, this is something different, and I don't know. I just find this character so stylish. I never liked Nameless, by the way,
But
but the original K Tetra 9 that was in 2001 and 2002, I think that character is excellent. That
is it different from Nameless? I didn't play 2001 that much.
uh, the moves were more or less the same. You can say it's like 80% similarity. You know,
Okay.
the fireball and the drill, the DP, and the other move, the slide. The moves were there, but I don't know why they changed the name. I never got into that.
What? Oh, the reason is because his design was similar to that of the popular manga Akira. There was a character called Tetsuo,
Got it.
and
Yeah.
he's a carbon copy of that
Right.
character. Whether it's the look, the hair, the attitude. So it's never been officially, the story was never
Yeah.
officially revealed what happened, but the consensus is that they wanted to avoid a lawsuit, so they changed his look. And
Understood.
they ended up changing his name too. But I mean, his story, like if you look at the story, it's the exact
Mhm.
same thing. Nameless and K, and it's the exact same story.
Right.
So I don't think he's coming back in that iteration. I mean, I'm pretty sure he won't. But Nameless,
Right.
maybe.
Got it. Got it. So okay, so that's one from the wish list. The other one is Meili. I think she was a
We
great
haven't seen her
character.
in a while. Yeah.
Yes, so that should be one. I think that should come back. Other than that, I think Melin from KF 2003. She was also one tricky character, I think.
Yeah, she
Uh,
was.
yeah, Gato and Jun,
Oh, Gato. Yeah.
also from previous KFs. Gato was
Mhm.
in 2003. Jun was in 99, 2000, and so these couple of characters. Shingo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It will be very good to see that character.
Yeah, it's
That
been.
was really something in '98.
Yeah, yeah, he
Uh,
was a great character.
yeah. Shingo, I don't know, maybe Saisho.
Hmm.
Yeah, so those characters I think will be very, very nice additions. And of course, we cannot forget Yashiro and the team.
Oh, yeah, the team. Those also have good chances of them being back.
Yeah, and the way I see it, and the way I have seen, I mean, in all those years, that as a team in KOF, the reputation and probably the most famous team I think is Yashiro, Sharmi, and Chris.
Hmm.
Maybe not Kyo, Benny, and Diamond, or maybe not the Fatal Fury team or Brazil. I think this team is somehow, I think it's super famous. So that will be really, really hype if we see
Yeah,
these three characters, especially these three. So that these are a few of my hopes that we hopefully see something that's not in KOF 14. Um, Other than that, obviously, as I said, Ash, then definitely Duolon.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people are asking about Dylan. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
Duolon,
why I guess
that
I hear a
great.
lot about him. That's why I really wanna gonna give him a shot in 13 just to see what he's all about.
Right.
Now, in terms of gameplay mechanics, there was a lot of rumors back in the day that because of the success of Dragon Ball Fighter Z, that there is a possibility, or maybe could the game be kind of like the same style as in tag mode rather than the regular, order team order select.
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you think? Is that something that's do you prefer for it to be the way King of Fighters is, which is you choose your first member, second member, or a little bit like how they did with the King of Fighters 2003 and 11?
2003 and 11. I think 11 was a very good game. I haven't played that much, but the way I have seen people playing and those combo videos, 11 was I think a very decent game. 2003 was not to that level. I'm not to
No,
that
it was.
SNK level. So it will really will be interesting to see if the mix up meaning is like having it like with just like DBZ or maybe a striker system. I was talking to my friend the other day that KOF 2000 was also a good game, but what if they could have introduced scaling in the combos? I think that game was really nice. So maybe something like that in KOF 15, if they are going to have strikers or this kind of system of tagging. So that will be really really good, really something new in these times, because we had KOF 13 for quite a long time, which obviously runs as the previous 3 versus 3 kind of system, and of course KOF 15. Of course, KOF 15 in the same way. So maybe that's what one of their ambitions for KOF 15 to introduce something like that. So that will be quite interesting to see.
Good. Now, in terms of that reveal trailer, what do you want to see in the reveal trailer? Like, what are your hopes in that?
Oh gosh, it's difficult to control emotions at the moment when you just think about how the trailer is going to look like. Definitely the gameplay. Even if they show with a couple of characters, not the full roster. I'm totally cool with that, and I really personally don't want them to reveal everything at one time.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, release with like maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 teams only, and let the other teams become as DLC characters, and it keeps the game alive. So my hopes from 15's trailer will be to have like limited roster, and of course the gameplay. And that's like basics that we all want to see, and maybe some kind of combo potential in the trailer. How is it? That would be really nice to see. And I remember something from KOF 13's trailer that that there's one scene when you see Ash and it converts into Psyche.
Yeah.
That I think is was something really unique, and maybe something like that in KOF 15 too, with a couple of characters. Maybe, for example, K Tetra 9, turning into Nameless.
Yeah.
They're just my wild ideas at the moment. Yeah. So that's really my hope, and probably because of emotions at the moment, and with extensive waiting, although there's a couple of days away, but it feels like another 1.5 years. Yeah. it's difficult to think. Because we are all thinking about that moment when the trailer will be released. So
hopefully they'll tell us when it's going to be released, because it'll be very difficult to concentrate at work not knowing when the trailer is released. Every time you're going to be checking. So hopefully they'll tell us when. That makes it a lot easier for all of us, I think.
Personally, I think they should stream it.
Yeah.
Just tell the time and they stream the trailer and discuss about it. I think that will be very good content.
Yeah. It's a very, very, very highly anticipated game. Now, one last thing. I know it's very late, so again, apologies for keeping you awake.
It's fine.
So, what are your for people who want to get into King of Fighters, who are not, they're still new to the franchise. They wanna be ready for 15. What do you think? They want to start from the beginning, because as you said, it's kind of important. When you start at the end, it's kind of difficult to try to, because you want to go from the beginning, learn the tech as everyone is learning, learn the problems, the infinites, pretty much everything that you could learn at the same time, because it really helps. So what are your advice for people who want to be ready for the King of Fighters 15 but are kind of new to the whole King of Fighters and they don't know how to start?
Understood. All right. So when people see KOF, they I think, to me, in my experience, they see two challenges to get into KOF. One challenge is to have 3 characters. Okay, that's universal. That's for everyone, even for all veterans like you and me. The older KOF players. Even for us, it's gonna be more or less the same. It's just that we know a bit more about the characters. We all know how Kyo fights and so on. So that thing is universal. If it is a challenge for a new player to get into 3 characters, it's a challenge for almost everyone in a new game, right? We just have a little bit of advantage. We know the characters. Okay, so that's one challenge. I think we shouldn't think about that. That's kind of same for everyone. The other challenge that people see is the combos, the
Hmm.
long combos. That kind of repetition of long. But if you see the long combos were basically in KOF 13. I mean the longest ones. Those HG combos in 2002 were not that low. I think it was like maybe two or maximum three times you could use that cancel
Hmm.
bar in 2002, the original one, I mean. But if you look at the other famous parts of the KOF, of course 2002 including, till you get the max mode, right? 98 KOF 99, of course 2002, 2002
Hmm.
those are heavily footsies based
Yeah.
strategy, how to get in and keep on pressuring and so on.
Yeah.
And that mentality, I mean, it's there in all other games,
Hmm.
right? You talk about Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Taken, that pressuring thing, that pressuring mentality is there. It's just as we need to look into it in a different angle, because jumps are going to be different than other games.
Yeah.
The dashes are different. So for that, my advice for the new players will be, don't look at the combos. Take things one by one. Try to master things systematically. For example, how the dashes are, for example, how the kinds of jumps are there, what kind of combo possibilities are there. When they see the HD combos on internet, and those long combos, probably a couple of those in 14 as well, they see that those are kind of difficult. You need to do that and this and that, this and
Yeah.
that, and so on to get a combo. I think they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't look at that way. They shouldn't look at it as an overall picture. If they want to get in, as I said, step by step, get into like one hit, how Kyo's crouch jab and the fireball. Is it a combo? How the crouch high punch and a fireball, is it a combo?
Hmm.
How it connects when you land after a jump, right? What kind of forward moves that you can do
Yeah.
within a combo? For example, forward B, forward A, and so on. These kind of things. So when you take these features of KOF slowly, the mindset changes. I mean, in my experience, I have seen a couple of players here who played different games before, but they got into KOF for some time, and they see that there are other options that we need to look at. For example, the roll, the guard CD, types of jumps, and so on. But when you take those one by one and see
Hmm.
how you can utilize those, that will be very good for new players to
Hmm.
adopt, right? So that will be my advice. Just don't look at those flashy combos and
Yeah.
start believing
Start
that
exactly.
QF is
Start
a difficult
small.
game.
Learn the basics.
Yes, exactly.
Use training mode. Trial mode is a bit difficult in 13. I would think that's something that you would
Yeah,
probably do later, not from the start.
yeah. And in these times, everything is on social media,
Correct.
and the games, themselves, they provide amazing training modes.
Mm.
I don't think there is any hurdle other than the mindset of the player
The
himself.
mindset. Correct.
Yeah,
Don't be intimidated by those what you see sometimes, those low combos, or just start small and you'll get there. And that's something I
yeah,
experienced with King of Fighters 14. I didn't play that much when it came out. I started very, very late. But then I really put the time, look at videos, ask people around, and I can handle myself quite okay now. I'm still not really good at it, but you get there. If you want to get there, you do get there. You just have to spend some time and invest in this game.
yeah. And I can tell you my personal experience when I first time tried QF 13. Okay. And when I first time looked at it, it looked the same to me. It was kind of natural feeling that, okay, one thing is sure, that combos are really long. Somebody needs to remember and practice those. Okay. So now how about the hyperdrive move? So, when I properly got into it, I took everything step by step. I looked, okay, how the jump CD counter works in
Mhm.
this game. Okay, fine. It's a bit similar to KF 98 and 2002. You can juggle and you can extend your combos. That's perfect. That's something I already know. How is the guard crash?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that you can see. That's very good. Right. Then combos. So I tell you something, Nabil. I first, when I tried Ash, I started with very basic combos like crouch BBB DP, jump C and C and C, and the fireball and other kind of moves. Then I started looking at the options. How can I maximize the damage if I have just one bar? right? What can I do if I have 2 bars? What can I do if I have 3 bars? Then I try different kind of combinations. For example, what can I do if I have just half HD and no bar? What can I do if I have half HD and 1 full bar? I mean, those kind of combinations. So I slowly got into these kind of combinations, and while playing with players here, I kept on experimenting, and became more and more optimal with time. So that's the thing the new players should do. Just like any other game, you have to start with basics, and that's
Correct.
my plan for KF15 too. I'm gonna take, I'm gonna play every character, and I'm gonna mess up with all kind of features the game is going to bring. So that should be the way.
I agree, and you heard this from one of the best KOF players in the world. Again, WhiteAsh, thank you so much for this. I know, again, I'm sorry for keeping you way too late. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was a great chat, great talking to you as usual. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that later after we have more information about the King of Fighters 15. And hopefully, the netcode is good enough so that maybe one day I can challenge you and lose badly, but at least with good netcode.
You never know, you're gonna win. All right, Nabil, thank you so much. I really feel honored to be part of one of the many great videos in your channel. So I'm really excited. I know hopefully people like this content and they learn something. And I just hope in these times everyone's just be safe and follow all those safety precautions and so on.
I agree. Thank you so much, Waqas. Thank
All right,
you a lot.
no problem. Most welcome, Nabil, and see you inshallah sometime.